if that had been an underage boy, I'm sure you would have given him some coin.
Ooh.
If it was a little boy.
Bars.
You would have been
Flying his
Cash
ass
Apping,
out.
Venmo, PayPal. How you want it?
Ooh, wait. No.
Listen.
Listen.
Wait.
I hate you for that.
Let me fix it. Welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says, insert tagline, y'all should be sending us taglines. I'm Francesca Ramsey. I'm a TV writer, an actress, a comedian, and social media consultant.
You better add comedian in there.
Yeah.
And I'm DeLon Grant. I'm an actor, singer, writer, photographer, and an educator. Yes, class, please get us those taglines at FixItPod, LetMeFixItPod@gmail.com. It's going to be that kind of day, all day today.
Yes, all you have to do is send us an audio clip of you saying, welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says, and then enter whatever you want. You can also send it to us just like as an email without an audio clip, whatever you feel comfortable with. We would love to highlight you on the pod.
Great. Cool. Let's dig into some headlines.
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. Class, I don't know if you heard about this, Fran. You either, about what the Trump administration is starting to do with passports. Did you hear about this? I know.
No, I don't. Well,
Listen,
I knew that they were taking trans people's passports at one point, and
it's ridiculous. I mean,
yeah.
I hate to always be the bearer of bad news, but as I've said on the pod repeatedly, it is 5-alarm fire. We have to pay attention to this shit. So, the Trump administration is saying if you owe child support, they're going to revoke your passport or keep you from getting a passport.
You know what? I did hear about this.
Which on its face sounds right? Like you didn't pay child support. Yeah, right? On its face, it sounds right. Yes, we need some kind of deterrent for people who aren't paying their child support. But we already garnish people's wages, right? That's already a tool that the federal government has. So to your point about the slippery slope of it all, it goes from child support, but then doesn't slip over to student debt? Does it go over to credit card debt? Like, you know what I mean?
That is exactly correct, because if they can do it with that, then they can do it with anything. And
I hate that I'm so suspect, but they've made me be suspect. They've made all of us go, what are these people actually doing?
Yes.
They're setting us up. They're making like, oh, this is logical, right? And then once we're used to it, then they're going to be like, okay, well, also these people and these people, because these are also things that crimes, right? I also want to, not crimes necessarily, but whatever, egregious things. Debts. And the debts are not egregious, but you follow me. The other thing is, we know what they've been trying to do with these passports for a minute. And if you don't, it has to do with voting. They're really trying to steal these elections, y'all. They're really trying to steal these elections. So what the Trump administration would like is for everyone who votes to have a passport. I forget what the percentage is, but not everyone in the United States has a passport.
They're expensive, and not everybody leaves the country.
That. And if you don't have a passport, you can also have a birth certificate. But then that cuts out 50% of the population because, well, of some of them, because women have changed their names, or you can't find your birth certificate, right? So I think this is all part and parcel of the same thing. And I just want to bring this up so that we can go, let's pay attention to it.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that you went there, because I did see people saying similar things about, if you aren't paying child support, there should be consequences, which I do agree with. But to your point, DeLon, let's be real. They not looking at the rich white people that ain't paying child support, because we know that this is racialized, right?
Come on.
Like when we talk about who's a baby daddy and who's a baby mama, okay? Because Trump has 5 baby mamas. Let's shake the damn table. It is
not
associated.
Shake the damn table. You're so stupid.
It's associated with Black and brown people. You know what I mean?
Legit.
So this idea that, again, I think if you have a kid, you should absolutely be taking care of them.
Yes.
But you bring up a great point about there are all sorts of debts out there. And if we suddenly start saying, well, then you don't have the freedom to leave, and even the debts thing, right? Because the whole credit score, like all of this is just like a big fucking farce, because it's always like,
It's
if you pay
a
off
ruse.
if you pay them off, it hurts your credit. You want to keep a little debt. What the fuck? You want to keep some.
And don't close a credit card, which I recently did, because that'll fuck up your credit. But you need a credit card to get credit, but you can't get a credit card without credit. And then like the gamification of what the actual score is like, well, you need you need student loan debt, and you need like a mortgage, and you need all this like
then don't check your credit score either, because if you check, that makes no fucking sense.
Or apply for a credit card, or try to get an apartment. That's all notches on your credit score. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Right. But then again, people who are, and this is the thing where people have been so upset with Mamdani saying that he's going to tax the rich, and talking about, if you have a property here in New York and you aren't using it, we are going to tax you. The system is set up that if you already have money, there are all these little special things that help you have more money. But
you can pay for people to show you how to save your money.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's all set up for people that already have money. So again, if we're going to start penalizing people for having debt, and again, if you have a kid, you should be fucking taking care of them. But we can garnish your wages. We don't have to take away your passport. And let me just also say, if you're not paying child support, I doubt you're going it. Like, maybe you are.
Where you gotta go?
If you are really penny pinching,
right?
Because let me tell you, I've seen so many TikToks from bums crying about, their child support, and it's like, bruh, it's like a few $100s. It like, feed your kid. What are you upset about? Garnish their wages. Absolutely garnish their wages.
I think if you don't pay them long enough, they could also arrest your ass.
Yes,
I think
they
can like
will.
lock you up. So there's severe consequences already established, right? Which makes this real sus. So we have to pay attention to this stuff a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw some Dusties being like, take it. I don't care. I'm not going anywhere anyway. It's like, okay, just pay your fucking child support.
Dude,
like,
I mean, listen, you may need that passport to get to Canada.
That's the thing that I was going to say. It really feels like a lot of this is being set up so that we cannot leave. It's not just about taking away the voting, the ability to vote. It is truly creating a system where people are in indentured servitude and they can't leave this hellscape. It's just so disgusting and
this
dark.
is a TikToker speaking through me, and this is like adjacent to this topic, but she was talking about how slavery and capitalism, we know, are intertwined, but how we are currently slaves.
I saw this one.
We are still slaves, and the way she broke it down logically, I was like, oh God, class, I'm going to bastardize it. But she basically said, so we don't own anything. And this is kind of gets to my topic today too, but like, we don't own anything. Everything is behind a paywall. So my entire existence, I have to pay for. I'm locked into at least some kind of job. There, you might have some government assistance. If you need that, I hope you can get it in this administration. But like, I'm stuck working 40 years for somebody else just to survive. Slavery that makes no sense. Like capitalism has us locked in, into the system.
Yeah, I saw that one too, because she was really kind of talking about the rules that have been set up for us and how they really only benefit those in power, and this idea that like, oh, well, when we get over this one thing, we're going to be able to, work our way up. And it's like, no, the system is created so you can't work your way up.
Right.
Like there are outliers, but even those outliers, I mean, I feel like the one I remember when I was younger, and especially when I was doing Decoded, but is when we talk about racism, people would be like, well, look at Oprah, look at Obama. Racism doesn't exist. And it's like, right. So just because those two Black people were able to rise above their circumstance and also still deal with racism, it doesn't mean that it's gone away for everyone else. And instead they use those outliers to be like, problem solved. MLK had a dream. The dream is realized. Y'all are doing fine. And it's like, no.
Well, deflection feels real good when you're trying to not feel guilty. Ready? Deflection feels real good when you're trying to feel guilty.
He's a writer.
understand
It was
yourself.
great.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
You're saying, well, no, yes. Moreover, you and I have talked about this a lot. If I say this is my experience, please believe me. Please believe that is what I'm experiencing. And that's what happens a lot with the racial stuff, is that there's like an erasure or an eclipsing of your experience. You go, that's not true. Yes, it is true. I'm telling you it's true. I'm telling you it's happened to me.
Woo! You are encroaching in my fix, P.S. Because I'm about to. Delon, do you know that people are already asking for a Delon Screams Part 2? People are. Last episode, people were like, there was a lot of good ones in this episode. We need another one.
I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where. I mean, class, I teach. In one class, all the students sit in front of me and I'm like sitting behind them. And a student will be doing something, doing a comedy song or something like that. And I will do my Yelp scream and everyone will be like, and I'm like, oh God, I've just fucked up the whole room. I'm so sorry. I should let you know that happens. It just comes out.
And that it's a good thing. And that if you do that,
yes.
it is such a visceral response. It just, it's music to my ears. Magic to my ears.
I would accept magic though.
Yeah, okay, sure.
What's your headline for the day?
All right, well, let me just preface this by saying this is such like a niche internet topic. I feel like, Delon, you are not going to know about this, but that's what's going to make this conversation interesting. Let me start by saying this. Do you know who James Charles is?
Oh, I do not, but I did see people commenting on something he was saying about somebody asking him for a GoFundMe or some shit.
Yes. Okay. So James Charles is an influencer, a beauty influencer. Okay. And I use that term loosely because the makeup always looks a mess. But if you are a white gay man, the bar is in hell. They're like, oh, wow, and then he slaps a little AAVE on there and they're like, wow, he's really doing something. So
Jesus.
So that's enough catching you up to speed. But long story short, he is a beauty guru and he has like 40 million followers on TikTok.
Holy shit.
It's like not an exaggeration. It's crazy. He's very popular. He's made a ton of money. He's sold like palettes with makeup on them, and he does all these brand deals. He lives in this huge house. He's very successful. He is constantly embroiled in controversy, including sending suggestive messages to underage boys, which he admitted to. This is not speculative. I'm not saying allegedly. He admitted to the shit, okay? So the most recent scandal that he's involved in is he posted this TikTok rant saying that one of his followers sent him a DM and said that she had been laid off by Spirit Airlines. They recently went out of business. And could he please donate to her GoFundMe? And she sent him a GoFundMe. And he hopped his botched ass, because he has a giant BBL, just a diaper, just hanging.
Not a dirty diaper.
It's bad. It's really bad. He hopped on TikTok and he went off about how she was entitled and she needs to get a job, and in the time that she sent that GoFundMe to him, she could have been filling out job applications. And
unbelievable.
She needs to be in the real world. Just so incredibly tone deaf, considering this is somebody who has never clocked in for a job. He's never had a W-2 in his life. He has been famous since he was a senior in high school. His senior photos went viral. And that's because he had, this really intense makeup on in his senior photo. And that was what kind of like catapulted him.
I see.
And then he became CoverGirl was doing a contest and they made him their first cover boy. And so he got really big because of that and like started doing YouTube and whatever. And it's just so frustrating that, and he's already put out 2 apology videos. The first one was like, of course. But like, this is the cycle, right? Like an influencer or a content creator or whatever, or a comedian or whoever says something offensive. Everybody gets upset. Then they post an apology. And in some ways, at this point, I really look at somebody like him and I'm like, this was all planned. Maybe he did believe the things he was saying in that first video. I don't think it matters either way.
It was very performative. I saw it. It was very performative.
But he
Yeah.
knew there was going to be backlash. Like he
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
there's going to be backlash. And then like the apology is like laying in bed, shirtless. And he's like, hey guys, and he's just regurgitating all the things people have said in the videos, dragging him. But
Mm.
the thing I want to point out is I saw so many people saying, I just can't believe he still has an audience after those messages that he sent to young boys. This is like, why does he have a platform? Why hasn't he been canceled? And class, I just want to remind y'all, cancel culture is not real.
Yeah.
Our president is a pedophile.
Yeah.
We have seen what's in the
Serial
Epstein files.
rapist.
A serial rapist. And like, this is not saying that I think that this is right, but like, I have to remind people all of the time, I am not surprised when somebody is an admitted abuser and people don't care. Y'all are at the Chris Brown concert.
Oof.
Y'all, like there are
Collabing with him, Usher, we see you.
Going on tour with him. There are so many abusers. And if you are musically talented, if you're a good artist, if you're a good fashion designer, people are like, well, people listen to R. Kelly. It's not enough for a lot of people. Unfortunately, it's just not.
Well, and it's happening. It's happening everywhere. Like there are a couple people in the Broadway community. There was this big article that was supposed to come out. 2010s maybe. No, who cares? When it was supposed to come out at some point before COVID, and it was stopped because all these big Broadway directors were in the article about the Me Too kind of thing, but just queer, And then, do you know who Scott Rudin is? Scott Rudin is a big time Broadway producer, but movie producer.
Yeah.
Scott Rudin. One article did come out about Scott Rudin, and it was like unbelievable.
Scathing.
I mean, like
he was abusing people that worked for him.
He like threw a computer at somebody because he didn't. I forget what he didn't like, right? But now he's back producing shows on Broadway. I'm like, oh, we're just. And there's another costume designer.
And it was an open secret. Like everybody in the industry knew that Scott Rudin was abusive. It was. There's a book that I was reading about it that was really well done, but I had to stop reading the book at multiple points because there were a lot of anonymous accounts from people that talked about how, if you said anything, you could stand to lose your job and never work in the industry again. So they didn't say anything, and they watched it happen because they were afraid for their own careers. And like you're saying, he's fine.
Yeah. Well, and there's also like something, not only like the fear of retribution or being fired, but like there I think what you're talking about, there's like there's just like a tacit approval. Like people can, especially for white men, like people can behave badly, and then like there's a moment where people get mad, especially on the internet, and then it's over. You know what I mean? Yeah. What are the actual repercussions? I think, I'm pulling one out of the air, but Kevin Spacey, I think he would argue that his life and career is messed up. I would argue that jail. It should be.
You're not, and again, you're right. He would argue, because he's talked about that. He's talked about how he doesn't have any money and he's homeless. I think the last I read, he had gone overseas and was doing some like, cabaret shows and like bars and stuff.
Oh shit.
And he's in an indie movie that's coming out at some point. But yeah, I'm of the mind, like, if you cannot keep your hands to yourself, you are not entitled to a career. And so Kevin Spacey crying about, oh, this is so difficult for me. I'm like, bruh, get over it.
What about that teenage boy?
Job.
What about that teenage boy? What about him?
Hello. Your life is over. No, you've ruined other people's lives. And the consequences are, people don't want to be around you. People don't want to work with you. People don't want to employ you. And now there are still people who will be fine with it. Go over there. And I think that's the problem, is that a lot of these abusers, they get off on one, pushing people's boundaries. They hate consent. And similarly, they want to be in spaces where people don't want them to be. Louis C.K., I'm looking right motherfucking at you, headlining Netflix as a joke. Wow. And his life was ruined. No, it wasn't. He admitted to flashing women and
he
having
was in
women.
A movie a year later. What are y'all talking about?
Oh yeah, but the people who make excuses for this stuff, I think it's multi-layered. I think there are a lot of people who if they were really honest, they have done some sketchy, abusive things,
Right.
and or they've been victims themselves. And it's easier to
Mm.
blame victims and make excuses because it makes them feel better about some not so great things that have happened to them.
I think you're spot on.
And so when with the James Charles of it all, again, I'm not saying that he should still have a platform.
And
I'm
it's not to
saying,
conflate anything we just said with what he did. To
yeah,
be
I mean,
clear.
but he did send sexually explicit messages to teenagers, and he
Okay.
admitted it.
Yeah. Heard.
He
Yep.
admitted it. Like, there was a whole thing. A number of young men came forward, and he was also doing stuff where, like, unfortunately, what's frustrating is there are abusers of all sexual orientations and all genders. But as we know, they love to hold up a queer person to be like,
Mm-hmm.
look, they all like this. Okay. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's why a lot of times people don't want to come forward.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that he was doing, and he admitted, is he really likes pursuing young boys and men who identify as straight. And so
Oh.
he essentially tries to coerce them because he has a lot of money. So he'll be like, "Oh, I'll fly you out. Come to Coachella. Come do this thing. I'll spend all this money on you." Then they get here and then they're like, "Okay, but I'm not gay." And it's like, "Well, I just spent all this money on you."
That's
And so
grooming. That's manipulation.
hello, that's coercion. That is coercion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and again, all of this is wrong. What I'm trying to unfortunately get people to wrap their minds around is that this is a pervasive issue. He is a symptom
Mm.
of a larger problem. We live in a rape
Yeah.
culture that is okay with this type of stuff, that protects abusers, that makes it so that people who have been victims of sexual assault or abuse don't feel comfortable coming forward. And so when people, say, well, I really like his makeup and I really like the person's music and I blah, 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 you are upholding a culture that says we are okay with people taking advantage of and abusing and harming other people. And
And
it's crazy to me.
And this is not what I think, full stop.
Mm.
But just to add this to the conversation, because I think you kind of gave voice to like the devil's advocate of it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the other side of the coin is, well, when have they served their time? When can they start their career again? When can
Right.
they, right? The idea, like, I think that's a really interesting part of the conversation. Does Louis C.K. just not do comedy anymore and we're done with him? Or
Yes.
you fucked up, goodbye.
Doing comedy, to answer your question, because I see people say this all the time, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
when have they served their time? The problem is a lot of them have served no time. You have to
Correct.
serve time first in order to have served your fucking time.
Well,
You know
and
what
what
I
we
mean?
talk about all the time is
Write a check.
write the check? What is the not an acknowledgy? What is the actual acknowledgement of harm done, and what is the recompense after
Right.
that? Right?
Because a lot of women, with the Louis C.K. of it all, it wasn't just, I mean, it's bad enough that he, flashed these women. He then used his influence to make sure that those women didn't get booked on comedy shows, that they
Wow.
didn't get acting jobs. His manager went around and made phone calls to make sure that those women were not hired any place that he was at. And
Wow.
so they didn't get certain opportunities. At the height of Louis C.K.'s career, he was very influential. He was
Yes.
like working with Chris Rock. He had a
Yes.
show on FX. He was producing multiple shows. He had a cartoon.
Movies. He was doing a bunch of shit.
He had all sorts of shit. So these women, their careers were essentially ended because he flashed his junk at them and then didn't want people to know about it. So
Mind you, wasn't
needs
he married too?
Yes, but
Was he
he
married?
talked about how I don't know if he was married.
Okay.
He just talked about for these people it's about control. It's about like
power.
because ultimately there are a lot of people that will want to see that man's wrinkly dick. Like he didn't want that. He wants somebody who doesn't want to see it. That's what he gets off on. So again, on the question of, well, what happens when they pay their debt? Pay the debt. Write a check. I think there needs to be, what's the equivalent of taking a thing out of his check every month to pay those women. And it's not going to fix it, right? Because those women no longer work in the industry. They had certain dreams that they were not able to achieve. he needs to pay those people. Similarly, James Charles, it's not just about, the woman with the GoFundMe. Look, people send me GoFundMe's all the time, and it is annoying. And sometimes
Mm,
you're like, I don't know if this is legit. I don't know who this person is. Maybe this is a scammer. All of those are legit feelings. To then get on the internet and scream about how, the world is hard and you need to apply for a job while most of your audience is struggling financially
right.
and there's no jobs out here. And
Talk
like,
about it.
and if that had been an underage boy, I'm sure you would have given him some coin.
Ooh.
If it was a little boy,
Bars.
you would have
Yeah.
been
Flying his
cash
ass
apping,
out.
Venmo, PayPal, how you want it, child,
Wow. That's
So
real.
he has not suffered, he lost some followers when this happened. He lost some followers when he got exposed for sending those explicit messages. But did he pay for the college fund of those young boys?
Mm,
And again, go away. I feel like, it is a privilege to be an artist, to make a living
yes,
off of
friends.
your
Talk
art.
about that.
There are so many talented people that will never, you could go to any subway in New York City and you will
Mhm.
see and hear the best musicians of your life that have
Singing that shoulda,
never,
coulda, wouldas.
hello, Papa was a rolling stone.
There was one guy who's a subway performer who just got a Grammy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or was it an Oscar? He got some award. I was really proud to see
Oh,
that. Anyway, continue.
yeah, but I just, it's this thing of like, you're not entitled to a career just because, oh, but he's so talented. Yeah, there's a lot of talented people that know how to keep their hands to themselves, that
And
don't rape people. You know
and
what
I
I
would
mean?
argue take some of that money and figure out this power control thing that you need to have over other people and get a
Mm,
therapist. Ready? Like work some of that shit
yeah.
out so that you can figure out why you need that, or is your ego and your head just so big that you think you can do anything and everything,
Yeah.
you know?
I saw, if I had a dollar for every time I saw a TikTok, man,
I mean, this is the story of my life.
I would own a home at this point. But I did see a woman on TikTok who talked about working in the prison system, and she was saying that after working in the prison system, she doesn't believe people who are rapists and child molesters can be rehabilitated. And it was
Wow.
really interesting. She was, and I part of me, I think unless there's an intervention in like childhood, because
Mm,
unfortunately a lot of these people who act out as adults, there were signs as children, they
sure.
hurting birds and weird shit like that. Like they're acting out in ways that should have been corrected and then aren't. I think that's probably the only time it can be fixed. Because to your point, I think a lot of these people, they don't think something's wrong with them. They they
I
they think like, oh, I got caught. And then like they have like a level of hubris that they think that they can continue acting this way, and they don't want to, I don't think they want to be fixed.
I mean, full transparency, class, we're not psychologists, right? So anything
Right.
that we're about to say is just based on like an educated guess. But
Mm-hmm.
I would offer that like that's what therapy or a psychologist is for. Maybe they can go, hey, my job here is to help you see that this shit is wrong. And I think
Mm-hmm.
you're right. There's some people that are not going to be fixed. There's some people
Yeah.
but I do think there's a way to mitigate the harm. Meaning, like a friend of mine in Minnesota works at a sex offender prison, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's minimum security, and some of them do eventually get out, and they have to do the thing like register they're a sex offender and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
in the prison, they do that work to go, hey, it's
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
rehabilitation,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I think there's a world where even if that is like kind of your I don't know, proclivity, I hate to even say that
Mm-hmm.
like you can get help to go, this has to stop, right? Or else you're
Mm.
going to be under the jail for the rest of your life,
I mean, I
right?
think I think it's two things. I think you have to want it to stop.
Sure.
But to your point about like the therapy of it all, for example, like there are some sorts of like, mental things that people can't, like, people who are sociopaths, for example,
Yes, that's
like
different.
like they
Yes.
can go to therapy, and the woman in this TikTok was arguing that sometimes therapy makes those people worse. because they like learn all of like the terms, and like they learn how to like mask certain
Especially
things.
a sociopath, because they're
And,
already trying to
and they
fuck
like
around.
learn,
Yeah.
yeah, they're like learning how to use certain things. And so again, it's one of those things that I really struggle with, because I do think that the carceral system in this country specifically is terrible. Like we don't
Oh God.
focus on rehabilitation, and things are not applied equally. But when I think about these things, like the thought experiment of like, if you murder someone, for example, I'm like, I don't know, like we know murder is bad. Like, is therapy going to help you understand that it's bad? Like, I
I
don't
guess
know. Like,
context, right? If it's
right,
like,
everything
is
is
it you
different.
running somebody down in a car by accident, or is it
Right.
like a premeditated thing? Yeah.
Right. I think right, exactly. There's so many different scenarios, and the reality is, unfortunately, there are a lot of women who are in jail for killing their abusers, and they are in there forever for protecting their child. So, oh, I found out that this man was touching my child. Bam bam. And the
My
court's like, "Well,
grandmother. My grandmother went to prison for that. I didn't tell you
no,
that.
I
Oh
no."
goodness, 7 years. Killed him down. Killed him down. Found out he was touching my aunt. Killed him down.
Wow.
God
I
bless her.
mean, but that's what I mean. Like, should she, like, that's fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
that's fucked
No.
up. Like,
Yeah.
I think that there should be, some sort of allowance for those things, because it's in some ways that's almost like a version of self-defense. Like, you are
1000%.
protecting a child, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. We just went
Crazy.
down a whole
We
rabbit
did.
hole.
As we're wont to do on the pod.
Oh, class, tell us in the comments, who is somebody that should be canceled? Full stop. Let's acknowledge that cancel culture is not real, but let's put James Charles up on the list, disconnect his Wi-Fi, take away his 40 million followers. Who else should be full stop canceled? Tell us in the comments.
And I'm gonna add, we need to reframe the cancel of it all. And this is in jest, so forgive, but maybe it's like, she just needs to take a knee or get out of my face. Like, there needs to be something else, because you're talking about cancel culture not being real.
Yeah.
But the underbelly of what you're talking about is like, we're frustrated that it's not
like
real, because it should be real.
Like a year off from TikTok. Like, your TikTok should be deactivated for a year.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
And you have to pay whatever amount of money you make in a year, you have to pay a 10% fine.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
a lot of money.
honestly,
Oof, that's
I
a
feel
lot
like
of
you
money.
should just buy Spirit Airlines. That should be.
That is the recompense.
Money. Yeah. So, class, tell us if we were going to replace the term cancel culture with like real actionable consequences. What do you think, James Charles? What should he do as his punishment? I think buying Spirit Airlines, giving Miss Mama her job back, I think would be very easy. He has the money.
I think it's just sentencing him to bankruptcy, which, like, whatever. I guess that's cancel culture, right? That's
according
karma,
to
nothing else.
according to his words, this is the real world. Get a job, James Charles. Get that LinkedIn Plus. It's like $89.99.
They stay trying to get me to get on this LinkedIn Plus. If y'all don't leave me the hell alone, get out my face. All right, let's go to the topics here. So my topic today is, I talked about this a little bit in my headline, but our lives are increasingly behind a paywall.
Yes.
What the fuck do we do? So, Fran, I don't know if you heard about this, but Walmart just announced that anyone who's going to buy their new smart, I think it's called a Vizio TV. It's a smart TV. It's a flat screen TV.
Oh God, yeah.
Anyone who's going to buy these new TVs, they are going to be required to register with Walmart. So if you want to use any of your smart TV features, your Netflix, your Hulu, your HBO, any of those apps, you actually have to register with Walmart on the TV so that they can collect your data, so that they can get you to buy shit, right?
Yeah.
So that's ridiculous. But we've also talked about in the pod, like, all of these automakers are, features that you have in your fucking car, like navigation and, I don't know, car starting.
Remote start. Yes.
The remote start. That is now behind a paywall. Class, I also want to say, look up what those companies are, because there's a lot more than you think. Everyone is doing that, right? But then I saw the TikToker today talking about her. She bought a new HP printer. Did you see this? A new HP printer.
Yes, and they make you subscribe.
Because she was like trying to print it, and they were like, "Hey, for $7 a month, you can print this." And she said, "This is my printer. I bought the printer, the ink, the paper. I should be able to print." Everything's behind a fucking paywall.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more evident to me that we do need some kind of economic boycott. I don't know that that's something that we can collectively get our minds around, because we're just used to capitalism and buying shit, right?
Yeah.
So some of my fixes I have for this are, I think we do have to stop spending money, or at least be more discerning about where we're spending it, right? So when we hear these stories, like in lieu of a boycott, do your research on the brand. Look up, is Tesla and Ford and GM, so many automakers are doing this bullshit. Look that stuff up, and also talk about it. We're talking about it here on the pod.
Yeah.
Share it with your friends, share it with your family, complain to the companies, post it on social media so that we can shame them. It can become enough of an issue that we then can have some kind of collective movement in it, because I think that's what's going to be the thing that's going to stop it, right? Because it's crazy that you can buy a product and then still owe the company some money after that for the service. It's insane. And then my last thing is, buy used, girl. Go to Craigslist.
That's what I was gonna
say. Go to Facebook Marketplace. Buy used.
That's what I was gonna say. No, you don't need a new car. There are, what is the one where you can buy not Carfax. That's how you find out about what
Carvana?
The car, but Carvana. Yeah, well, I heard that they were doing some sketchy stuff too. But yeah, like looking for I know everybody. But I saw this too with people with the e-readers, that everybody that had this certain e-reader got a message
Amazon.
that was like, hey, a Kindle. They were like,
Kindle.
Hey, your Kindle is going to stop working after this day. It's not going to be able to download new things, but here's a coupon for a new Kindle. And everybody was pissed about it. And I saw people online sharing how to jailbreak your Kindle. So that
do
you
that
could
shit too. Yes, get that.
Yeah. I feel that way about, like, I've been holding on to my iPhone for so long, and I'm like,
I refuse
to update this iPhone, because every update I see people complaining about how the update is really weird and has all this like AI shit. And I'm like, no, I'm going to ride this thing till the fucking wheels fall off.
Yes.
And once it dies, I'm about to go on eBay and get a refurbished iPhone. I'm not going to buy a new one. I'm not going to do it. And so I think that is the answer. And I think the other thing is, because it's also the smart fridges. Have you seen this?
What?
They have a fridge that has a screen on it. The screen's playing ads. They're like, oh,
no,
you want to
house?
In your house.
You motherfuckers you're doing way too much. That's crazy, man.
It's way too much. I really think my hope is, and I'm seeing this happen, is that there's like a pendulum swing to people going back to more analog things.
Yeah.
You don't need, I get if you need a new fridge, like your fridge is on its last leg or whatever, but we don't need a fridge that has a fucking screen in it. You know what I mean? Like,
for what?
And maybe let me take a step, because maybe there is some sort of accessibility thing. Maybe.
Sure.
And I would say, if you are somebody that is needing certain accommodations, that might make sense. But if you don't, buying the most brand new thing that has all the bells and whistles on it, it's out of control. Everything wants you to have a fucking app. I don't want an app for everything.
Please, I can't with the apps. I can't with the warranty apps. You get a new thing, they're like, download the app. Here's the QR code. I think it's just, we have to find out how to divorce ourselves from the action of capitalism, right? We've been indoctrinated to need
slavery.
The newest thing. Talk about it. You need the newest thing. I mean, the reason commercials exist is because they're trying to get into our psyche and tell us we're not good enough unless we have those things. I mean, growing up poor and Black and queer, let me tell you, in a very white, middle-class, straight area, I felt so inadequate in so many ways, and I had to do so much unlearning, right? But having things, buying things was a way to feel better. It was a way to feel like you were a part of your world, right? So yeah, I feel we have to figure out how to like pull ourselves back from the capitalist machine, because we are hamsters on the wheel, and they're just like siphoning more money from us,
You want thingamabobs? I got 20.
I love how I was like, part of your world, because I couldn't even find the notes.
Well, I was going to say another one that I saw was a girl looking at apartments, and she found an apartment that was like $2,100 or something, expensive, one bedroom. But then she was reading the fine print, and they were like, oh, you also have to have a subscription to the key fob. And if you don't pay the subscription on the key fob, you can't open the door to your apartment.
What?
Child. I mean,
can't.
I think you're right. We have to find a way to divorce ourselves, but this is like, it's not slavery in the traditional sense, but like in many ways, it feels like everything is set up that you can't avoid it. Because again, it would be great to live in a building that doesn't have the key fob of it all, but if you need a place to live and the older buildings, don't have certain things that you need, or it's not safe, then you're kind of between a rock and a hard place where you're like, I didn't want to pay this amount anyways. And now y'all have the ability to control if I can get into my apartment or not.
Listen, I have a key fob building too. I hate this shit.
So do I.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Go back to the actual key. Like remember when you can go to a key station or the hardware store and just make a fucking key?
Oh no, you can't do that here. You can't do that here.
I paid for an extra fob in July of 2025 that I have not received. Did you get it? No.
How much was it? How much was it?
$100.
Yeah, in my building, you can't buy another, because I wanted to buy another fob because, I have a dog walker.
Yeah.
And I don't like, when my dog walker comes, I usually will just be like, I now have like a lock box outside that I like put the key in, and I have a code that I give them, whatever. But before that, I was just being like, hey, my door is unlocked. And I was like, you know what? I don't love leaving my door unlocked.
Right.
I would like to get another key. They were like, oh, you can't get another key. Well, first of all, a new key is $90, but you can't get one unless you add another person's name to your lease. In order to add another person's name to your lease, that's like $130 fee. And I'm like, just to get another key that I'm just going to give to my dog walker?
Fran, my worst fear is losing my keys, right? Like not being able to get in my house. And so I was like, oh, let me get another one. Just in case someone comes. I have 2 bedrooms, my family, you, whatever. My friend Brandon used to come a bunch. Or just in case I get locked out, I could have somebody
I have
else that has the key.
Yeah. I have an extra, because Shamika, one thing she gonna do is lose those keys.
I mean, it's my worst fear. It doesn't happen, knock on wood, but like it's crazy. It's crazy. We digress, because I want to say one other thing about I want to just specify what we're talking about with slavery and capitalism, right? The reason, class, we're comparing what we're experiencing currently, just to be clear, to slavery, is that our labor, our actual labor, is the only thing that pays us money so that we can exchange it for services or for products, right? So it does feel like if I'm not making enough money, I'm just enslaved to labor, right? But if I'm not making enough money, it makes it even worse.
And it's a system that you did not create, but you suffer the consequences from, and you can't get out of.
Yeah.
I saw somebody saying, you reap what you sow. And it's like, I didn't do the sowing. I did not sow. I don't know how to sow. I don't know how to sow. And dare I say I reap. I still reap. You
motherfuckers out here reaping me day and night.
You take this reaping. Oh my God.
So funny. All right. What's your headline or your topic?
My fix, this is related to what we were talking about earlier, this idea of like, people are allowed to not like things. There is a huge conversation happening about the Kevin Hart roast that happened as part of the Netflix. It just happened. Yeah. And it was streamed live. I guess it was last night. And there are a lot of people that did not like some of the jokes that were told. That guy, Tony Hinchcliffe, was there. He was the one that said Puerto Rico is a shithole island. Remember he said that?
Oh, that. Yeah, I did see Chelsea Handler
Yeah.
joke. And I saw
Yes,
him
yes,
sitting
yes.
there. Yeah,
So
that's right.
he was there and he said some really gross stuff about George Floyd, which like you're roasting Kevin Hart. What the fuck does George Floyd have to do with this? But like, they're obsessed with bringing him up, those
Right.
racists. And so there it started this whole conversation. And Delon, I'm going to get on my soapbox here. My fix is aimed at comedians. Fucking get over it. People are allowed to say that they didn't like a joke.
Yeah.
Comedy is not dying because people said I didn't like that joke. And I'm telling you, some comedians that I know, people I've been on shows with, people I've hung out with, I was clapping back because I was like, you're full of shit. People are allowed to say they didn't fucking like the jokes. Like, I'm tired of comedians being so sensitive. It's
Yeah.
so unfair that it's just a joke. If it's just a joke, then people are allowed to say they didn't like the joke. Well, it's a
Get a thicker
roast.
skin.
It's a roast. Okay, that doesn't mean that I have to go, well, it's okay. He made a joke about, George Floyd being in hell and looking up at Kevin Hart and not being able to breathe. I mean, again, there's no joke there. It's not funny. It's just racist.
Shock value.
And honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm really looking at some of these black male comedians sideways that are like, get over it. It's just a joke. I'm like, and when your ass gets hemmed up by the cops,
Right.
they gonna be laughing about it, and you're
Right.
gonna be like, oh my God, start a hashtag, come help my family. And it's like, well, I thought it was just jokes, bro. I thought it was
Right.
all just jokes. Like, these things don't exist in a vacuum. And I just really feel like, and again, what was so frustrating to me, Delon, is a number of people that I know were going back and forth with me and putting words in my mouth and say, oh, so we can't say anything? Nobody said that. You're allowed to say it. Tony is not in jail.
Right.
Nothing has happened to him. People are just saying, I didn't like that. And a lot of people were also saying Kevin Hart sitting there kikiing and kicking his little feet was making them be like, bruh, you thought that shit was funny?
Right.
And this whole idea of comedians, oh, it's so unfair. And, everyone's so sensitive. And it's like, I would argue that you're too sensitive if you're not okay with people saying, I didn't like a joke. Either you acknowledge that not all jokes work for everybody, or you just move the fuck on. Write about a joke or just go, oh, that's not my audience.
Well, and I would also say, like, you're insensitive when it comes to your joke, but you're really sensitive when it comes to people being judgmental of the joke. And we talk about many things being true on this podcast a lot, and I think we talk about that in our culture and society in general right now. And I do think they need to come off the snowflake and get a thicker skin. Make the joke. If people don't like it, be like, I'm sorry you didn't like it. That's it. That's literally the end of it. It's not the end of comedy. It's not the end of anything.
No.
And there is a pendulum swing now in the 21st century where we're going, hey, that shit I love Richard Pryor. His first comedy special and his, brilliant. But Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy, their first comedy specials have a lot of homophobic shit in it. And I watch it and I go, I don't like that. But I can laugh at the rest of it. And that's, I'm not like not watching it, right? But like I can say those things, and that's not hurting Eddie Murphy or Richard Pryor. Like, it's just saying, hey, I don't like that shit. That's it.
Literally. And like, I'll call myself out. I made that joke about, getting dick down and how it's influenced how I operate. And there were people calling me a pick me and saying I don't like it. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I disagree with you, but like, comedy is not over because you didn't like the joke.
Yeah.
I disagree with you. I think it was a joke at my own expense, and I'm okay with that. But you're allowed, like, I'm not going to block you and say you're not allowed to come. You're not allowed to be a fan of mine. You're not like, oh, you just have a difference of opinion about this content, and that is okay. I saw a lot of comics, again, people that I know saying nothing is off limits. And it's like, nothing is off limits to you. To you. And that's and again, that also I think is a false equivalence, because if somebody takes a shit on the floor at a comedy club, most people are going to go, that's not comedy. But if you're saying nothing is off limits, then by your standard, then anything is comedy.
Right.
Then I could have somebody get on stage and not tell one joke and not be funny and go, well, nothing's off limits.
Right.
So that means nothing has to be funny. Doesn't make any sense. This one person said to me, oh, I wouldn't tell a doctor how to be a doctor. It's like, medical school and jokes are not the same.
But I would tell my doctor, this isn't working for me. I would say this medication, this process is not working for me. What do we do now?
Right.
Because I have agency.
Right. And one person was like, this person is they went to their profile and it said that they worked in marketing. And they're like, I wouldn't go to your office and tell you how to be a marketer. You can't tell me how to be a comedian. I was like, if I go to a restaurant and I eat the food and I don't like it, am I allowed to say I don't like it? Or do I have to get in the fucking kitchen and cook some food? No, I'm allowed to say I don't like it. Yeah. Now, I'm not allowed to ruin everybody's dining experience and start flipping over tables and shit. But I'm allowed to say, I don't like this. I'm going to send it back. Or you know what? I'm going to leave. I'm never going to come here again. And the same is true for art. People are allowed to say they don't. I feel this way about musicians too. The stands, they get so upset if you say you don't like Taylor Swift, you don't like Nicki Minaj. I'm allowed to not like something and you're allowed to like it.
It's subjective, guys. Not everybody has
my opinion is not stopping you from liking the thing.
Yeah. Well, there's a sense of like needing to all be on the same page about a something. So when you criticize, especially internet speak, you criticize something and everyone's in the comments, everyone's wanting to inherently argue, pick a side, right? Instead of looking at it a little bit more objectively, right? But back to the comedian of it all, like, just say your fucking jokes. Like, listen, I haven't watched a Dave Chappelle special since the second one where he was the trans thing is just his thing. Now I'm not partaking in it. It's not hurting Dave Chappelle. No, and nor is any of the criticism hurting him. Yeah, he's one of the people being like, everybody's too sensitive, but like he's still getting money.
Well, and that's DeLon. That's the thing that really killed me because the people, and again, what's blowing my mind is these are people I know. It's not just all random people. Like some of these are people I've performed with. Okay, y'all are getting so upset, and I'm like, it wasn't even your fucking joke.
Right?
Why are you upset in defense of a white man who doesn't even fucking know you exist? And I bet you he would call you the N-word to your face if he thought it would get a laugh.
Right.
So now you're like, it's not fair. A comedy is dying. Like, we just had the biggest comedy festival in Los Angeles. Comedy is not dead because some random person on Threads was like, that shit crossed the line for me. For me. What?
Man.
So that's my fix. Everybody needs to just, again, I don't think that all jokes are created equal. To me, I don't think just saying something racist, homophobic, transphobic, whatever, to me, those are not jokes because like jokes are about exposing truth, but also subverting expectations.
Yes.
That's what makes a joke funny is you think I'm going this way and then I go this way. If you just say something racist, you haven't done anything new or special.
Right.
And I think I'm allowed to say that because I work as a comedian. And I think everybody's allowed to decide what's funny to them or what's not funny to them. I'm not attempting to police people's speech by saying that. And I think a lot of people just have to be okay with the fact that folks are going to express their opinion. That's allowed.
And they're allowed to say, call you out. They're allowed to call you out for the thing. And you know what? You don't have to answer. You actually don't have to respond. Yeah. You can let them do whatever they're going to do on the internet.
Yeah. Y'all are acting like it was your joke and it wasn't. And I just like, it's really, really weird. And like, if you're watching comedians that I've talked to, I hope you say something to me when I see you at the next show.
Get them comments. Okay.
Get them comments or say it to me. Cause I'm like, bruh, like, come on, this is like, just write better jokes.
Well, and speaking of comments, let's get to comments from the class.
Yes.
I have a couple here. Well, one is like a vague comment, just a collective comment that I've aggregated.
Okay.
Oh, everyone loved the tassel jacket that Meryl wore and Devil Wears Prada. Oh my God. Everybody loved that. Everybody fucking loved it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, she still looked like a Christmas tree, but it's fine.
Fashion is not dead.
But sometimes fashion is ugly. Then this next comment we have from at Surreal Times. They say, thank you both for your honest opinions of the movie. This is about Devil Wears Prada. These were private thoughts of mine that both of you said out loud. We saw what they were trying to do. However, they missed a lot of the opportunities. They missed a lot of the opportunities to make it actually funny, like the first one, and also meaningful, like the first one. Great episode. And the reason I pulled this one out is because I think we do this. We have thoughts in our head, and for I don't know, societal pleasantries, we go, oh, okay, and you don't actually express it. You know what I mean? Or you let someone else influence your opinion on something so easily. So I just want to bring this up because like we gotta like say this shit out loud. Like Surreal Time, say it out loud, because Fran and I are going to say it out loud. I ain't like it. I ain't like it. But we'll also have context around it and be like, well, I don't like it, but this is why, and I thought this could be better, and you know.
And I will also say there were some people in the comments that were like, I loved it. And I was like, okay, great.
One person was like, we all applauded at the end of it. I was like, applauded? Wow.
Yeah. And I responded and I said, people like stuff I don't like all the time. Like, that's fine.
I didn't hate it. I was just like,
yeah, I didn't hate it either. I just like, I was kind of like ambivalent about it. But I think to jump off of your idea of like, sometimes we don't say things in our head, I think it's related to this comedy conversation. There are some people who take art very personally. And I've never really understood that. Like if I like a movie or if I like a TV show, if I like a tassel jacket, like I don't take it personally that, you know, I didn't make the damn jacket. I'm like, I like it. I don't take it as a criticism of who I am or my value or my taste level because you don't like something that I like. And there are some people that do. Yeah. And so I think this commenter, hopefully they weren't in this situation, but I'm sure they've had some times where like everybody's saying like, we loved this thing. And they're like, if I say I don't like this, everyone's going to go, you negative Nancy. You know what I mean? Like, and,
you don't like anything.
Oh, I guess comedy's dead. You know?
Oh my gosh. Do you have any comments from the class?
Yes. This one comes from T-Love Loses It 2979. It says, why as soon as Delon stood up, I was like, okay, arms, basement, wet.
Not a snail trail, girl. Not a snail trail.
Class, if you're new here, I don't know when I started saying this, but like if I thought someone was hot, I would be like, the basement is flooded. And I would be like, pull up the carton, the carpet, just taking the analogy to a disgusting degree. Okay, this one's from Sadie Smith. This was on our last episode. It says, Marissa, you are so impressive, getting results. Wish I could vote for you. We need progressive lawmakers who aren't beholden to corporate interests. Private equity literally ruins every industry they buy up. So many people cheering Marissa on in our last episode. And then this one comes from Elena. This is an email. It says, greetings from Puerto Rico. I just wanted to say that many of the issues you talk about resonate with me. As a Puerto Rican living on the island, we are U.S. citizens from birth, but we don't have the right to vote for the president or have any representation in Congress. As you can imagine, the repercussions are far and wide, but that's a really long discussion. I just wanted to tell you that the episode where Francesca talked about Megan Thee Stallion was really refreshing. Many online dating gurus refer to relationships like a game. It's exhausting. When I'm in a relationship, I'm honest. I like to care for the other person. Sometimes it's not appreciated. That's life. Nevertheless, I refuse to experience relationships in a plotting, disingenuous way. Thank you for your perspective. I love that. I feel the same way. I see so much content that's like, if he texts you, don't text back until this time. And he needs to spend this much money. And I'm not going to. And I think everybody should do whatever works for them.
Right.
But I think if you want to build a relationship with someone, romantic, platonic, professional, it needs to be grounded in honesty. And you can't expect the other person to like read tea leaves and like use a decoder ring. It's like, what do you want? Like, how do you
Well,
feel? Do you
and
like me?
part of the gamification of it, but also like it's like manipulative. It's
Mm-hmm.
like not or coercive. You said that earlier.
Yeah.
It's you're not being honest about how you're feeling and what you want because you're trying to get them to do a thing, you know, because
Yeah.
that's the way it's supposed to be. And the way it's supposed to be is the way it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, girl. I just want I don't can't remember what this person's name is, but I just want to give you some wind behind your
Elena.
sails, Elena. Wind behind your sails on the dating of it all. I know it's hard out here for
Mm-hmm.
us, we single ladies. So I hope you're feeling strong about it.
All right. Now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the glow up, where we give props to those who've turned themselves around without our help. Delon, I'm going to let you go first because I don't have a glow up.
Oh, great! I thought we'd actually have the same glow up.
Oh.
So No Doubt is back.
Oh.
Brandon and I talked about this off mic. So, class, if you're not aware, the band No Doubt,
Mm-hmm.
every millennial's favorite pop rock band with Gwen
Mm-hmm.
Stefani as its front woman, they just started their Vegas residency last week,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm at the Sphere in Las Vegas, and
Mm-hmm.
I think millennials are excited about it, but the people on
Mm-hmm.
the internet are not. Partially because I sent Fran a clip, but there are a lot of other clips of Gwen Stefani's vocals and just not being there. You didn't
Yeah.
like the graphics. I thought the graphics of this Sphere were actually not that bad.
There was just too much going on. Like,
Heard.
I was just like watching it on a screen. It felt overwhelming. I could just imagine in the Sphere, it was probably just like really, it was so fast and there was just too many things happening. It was like different outfits, different locations. She was big, she was small. I was just like, what is happening?
I agree with you on that. Yeah, the I think the other part of the real reason people are like pushing back or judging her is
Mm-hmm.
because of the Christian nationalist,
Yeah.
MAGA adjacent kind of way
Yeah.
that her politics have gone. But people are up there helping her sing the songs. So I'm glad they're back. I mean, I'm not going to this Sphere anytime soon, but I love
Mm-hmm.
No Doubt. You know what? Let me. I
I'm
love.
surprised. This is
I
a take I did not expect from you.
really.
Are you getting dick down?
If only. If only.
What happened to you?
I liked that one album with the peach on it. What was that?
Tragic Kingdom.
Tragic Kingdom. That's the only one I know. Did they have
Mm-hmm.
other albums?
Yes.
Well, they had another pop album after that was pretty hot
Yeah.
too.
You got me feeling hella good and I'm gonna keep
Keep
on dancing.
dancing. Boom, 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 boom.
No Doubt was my first concert. So
Oh.
I have like a sweet spot for No Doubt. A lot of the clips I was like, ooh, she does not sound great. But there were some clips where people were like, she sounds terrible. And I'm like, she sounds how she always sounds. Like, I'm a big No Doubt fan. She's never had like a great voice. Like her
I would
voice is
classify her as a singer. She sings in a band. I mean, right?
yes, by definition, what she is doing is singing. But like, again, and I love No Doubt. Like I love No
They're a
Doubt.
great band.
I won tickets to a No Doubt concert on the radio at my like
Oh, I've
local
never heard the
radio
story.
station. Yeah, I did a Gwen Stefani impression on the radio.
You and me.
You and me, we used to be together every day together.
That's a good impression.
And it was so funny because I should do something in my stand up about this. I don't know how it came up that I was black and the radio DJs could not believe that I was black
Oh
because
my
this was on the
God.
fucking radio. They were like, whoa, pew, 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 no way.
Wait, how did
I
it
was
even
like,
come up that you were black?
I don't remember. I don't
So funny.
remember. They said something. I don't know because I mean, again, I'm a huge No Doubt fan, but their first lead singer was a black guy. It was
Really?
Gwen. Yeah, and like they were very, they're from Long Beach, and they came up with Sublime, and like
Yeah.
they love like reggae and ska, and so like their
Yeah.
community was like very black.
Mm.
And so maybe I said something about that. I really
I
don't
see.
remember. I just remember that the DJs thought it was crazy. And I used to do these Gwen Stefani impressions. I wore a bindi because she was wearing she was wearing a bindi.
A belly shirt.
I was wearing a bindi. Delon, I was in the grocery store visiting my dad in his little town in Ohio with my little bindi. And this little girl said, "Mommy, why does she have a dot on her head?" And the mom said, "She's of a different religion." And I was like, "No, I just like No Doubt."
Talk about appropriation.
Truly, the most prolific appropriator of all time, Miss Gwen Stefani. Yeah, but like the clip that you sent me, she was out of breath. She was behind the music.
Not in time. And listen, it's all right to backphrase in a song that you sing, but girl, you couldn't even find the downbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. The other clips I saw were bad too.
That's why I'm surprised you're giving them the glow up. Just because,
they're there. I didn't say that was good. I just said they're back on the scene, girl. I said, welcome back, No Doubt.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I was like, bruh, the clips you sent me were terrible.
Oh, yeah. No. Okay. I'm sorry. I should have clarified
back.
where I was, my thinking on that. Yeah, no, they're back. Good job. And listen, I don't know how many shows they're doing a week. When you're on Broadway, you do 8 shows a week, right? So.
Have you been on Broadway?
Oh, maybe just once. But I think I did think this is the empathetic person that I am. I was like, oh, well, maybe it was just like the end of the week. Maybe it was just like a long week. And even still, it was bad.
Gwen, you might need to take some stuff down a step. Take it down a step.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ask Kelly Clarkson. Ask Kelly Clarkson. She said, "I am not singing the song."
Yeah, but we can't. That is too different.
Not the same sentence. Not the same sentence.
No.
You're right.
All right, class. That's going to wrap it up for us this week. Don't forget that we are starting The Artist Way this week. We're going to be putting up little mini episodes every Sunday, reflecting on The Artist Way. If you want to join us, it's never too late. Get a copy of the book, start those morning pages, and we will hang out with you at the end of the week for those episodes.
Yes, and remember those taglines, friend. You do not have to send us an MP3 audio if you don't like the sound of your voice. We will happily read it. So just send that to our email, letmefixitpod@gmail.com, like I just said. Also, if you're new here, welcome. Hit that notification bell if you want to know when we drop episodes, because we are dropping 2 episodes a week now with The Artist Way, right? So we drop episodes every Wednesday at noon. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button too. And stick around. Stick in the class.
Yeah.
I'm Delon.
Yes. I'm Francesca. And this was Lemme.